Okay, there's just a lot of bogus, bad information out there. And we have this guy here who's, I've watched a video of him before, and he seems pretty smart, articulate, not super clickbaity. But you have these really young doctors. He's still in residency. I'm not a doctor, but these guys are trying to build a YouTube channel at the same time, guys, okay? He's got 73 subscribers, and a big story like this, he could get up to 100,000 subscribers. It's a big deal for these guys. And so, devastating NBA Finals injury. And then he goes in, and he never says what the prognosis would be if it was just a minor Achilles tear, a partial tear or a micro tear. Okay, he just goes on and on. He basically admits early on that it's not a full rupture, but then he still pretends like, oh, it may very well be a full rupture, when he shows that we know for absolute certainty that it's not a full rupture. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And then we have this guy. Hey guys, this is Dr. Justin Mercer, another young doctor, right? Probably still in residency or medical school, but he's calling himself a doctor, so he's in residency. But you just see these guys are very, very young, and they want to jump on something. This guy has 1.5 thousand subscribers, and he's so young and full of hubris that he's like, oh yeah, I definitely saw Kevin Durant's sock ruffle, and that was the Achilles tendon just rupturing and snapping like a shotgun, and that's why I saw his sock ruffle where his Achilles tendon is, and this is devastating for Kevin Durant, and he's definitely out for the year, and all this other bullshit. You're fucking wrong, bro.
As you all probably know, Kevin Durant, but he didn't really exert much load.
So right here, this is the kind of move Kevin Durant should not have been doing. He already had the Achilles injury that was made him sit out a month, right? You don't want to put this kind of torque on your Achilles with that kind of angle that's going to stretch the Achilles so much with this. You see how his toe pointing forward so much and his heel so far back, that's putting just major torque and stress on that Achilles. So this is what caused the injury. But as this guy admits, the fact that Kevin Durant was later, the fact that, look,
on the court, he's grabbing much lower down, closer to his Achilles tendon. That's the motion that your calf muscles and
yeah, you see that right there? You see the motion with Kevin Durant pointing his toe down? You can't do this. You can't point your toe down when you have a ruptured Achilles like that.
The motion that your calf muscles and your Achilles.
All right, you saw Kevin Durant in full control of his foot. In full control of his foot, guys. Just because it happened in the finals doesn't mean he's out for a year. Just because he can't play for the next week doesn't mean it's a career-altering injury, guys. People are just flipping out because it's the finals. And for that other doctor to watch Kevin Durant being able to point his toe all the way down, showing that his Achilles is intact, whether or not it has a minor tear or a micro tear, that just shows that these guys are desperate for clicks. And even with this guy who knows damn well that Kevin Durant's Achilles tendon is at least partially, if not largely, if not entirely intact, he's still devastating NBA injury, and he's still pushing the narrative that it may very well. And then at the very end, he says, I don't think it's a full tear, when what he really should be doing, guys, if he was really focused on the doctor thing and not the YouTube thing, right, he would say, okay, this is not a full rupture of the Achilles. We see that he still has full control of his foot, which means his Achilles is intact. We saw him walk off the court putting some weight on that Achilles. We know that's the deal. So what's the prognosis now? And he never gets to that. He never says, okay, if it's a partial Achilles tear, he's out for 4 to 8 months. He never even talks about that. He just wants to sensationalize and let that possibility linger as long as possible, that this is a devastating injury that's going to cost Kevin Durant a full season. And it's going to totally game change all of the free agency stuff. And pretty much everybody in the media thrives and survives on sensationalism. And that's all this is. This is sensationalism about Kevin Durant, who gets injured in the finals. And everyone just wants to say, oh, it's got so many free agency ramifications. he's out for the year. Now this trade's not going to happen. Now this trade is going to happen, and it just affects everything. And you got Bob Myers up there with the fake tears, who was only crying those fake tears because he felt guilty and he knows he looked bad. Because not only did Kevin Durant have an Achilles injury before that he lied about and called a calf injury, Bob Myers was just crying because he got busted lying. Everyone knows now that he had an Achilles injury a month ago and that they put extreme pressure on him to go out there and play. And if they did want to send him out there and play, Kevin Durant, you see his adrenaline was pumping so much. He was so excited to be out there that he was pulling moves that he never should have pulled, right? If you have certain injuries, you can just play in a more limited style. Play within the flow of the game. Don't try to put any sort of super extra tweak. Space the floor. Maybe post up some. But he's trying to do this Kyrie Irving stuff, and we see with Kyrie Irving, he's always breaking his knees and ankles and everything too. So Kevin Durant, he probably knew the game plan. The game plan was don't put any undue stress on your Achilles when you're out there. Try not to push off too much. I mean, and he had scored 11 points in 12 minutes. He was doing great, but he got caught up in the surge of the moment, and I know exactly what's that like. We all do. When the adrenaline kicks over and you've got so much pent-up stress and frustration that you haven't been able to be out there, and he's balling out like that, and the whole world is watching, and it's the NBA Finals, and if he plays well enough, he may very well be able to lead a 3-1 comeback and get Finals MVP for the third time in a row. You don't think Kevin Durant had Finals MVP on his mind? So he just overdid it. It's just the adrenaline got the best of him. He should have been letting other players do the off-the-dribble drives. Stick to the jump shots. Stick to keeping it real simple. Just being there for your team. But in any event, these doctors, these young doctors trying to get a YouTube channel going, you know, it's just media ethics. And just because you went to med school doesn't mean you have... He seems like an ethical guy. This guy I'm not sure about. This guy doesn't have ethics. This guy jumped to a bogus diagnosis for the sensationalism to get a subscriber count up to 2,000 in the NBA Finals. All right, guys, let me know what you think. I'll see you soon. Peace.